The next section we're going to be looking at is decimals. Now, along with fractions, they are very closely related. And actually, we're going to express fractions as decimals and vice versa later on in another section. But decimals are often very used with money and different things, and they're very important. But they're not something that's difficult to understand. So first thing we're going to do is look at three different decimals and then place them in ascending order. It means going up. If you ascend on a hill or a mountain, you're going to be going up. So we're going to be starting at the bottom and then working our way up. Now if it was descending order, it would be the exact opposite. The three decimals that we're going to be looking at are 0.67, 0.074, and 0.802. And what you always look for whenever you're evaluating decimals and looking to see which one is the largest, you look at the first number to the right of the decimal. We have a 6 here, a 0, and an 8. Obviously, 0 is the smallest of all of them, therefore making it the smallest of the three numbers. It has nothing to do with how many numbers are in the list. If I have 0.099999, that is smaller than 0.1 because of the fact that 0 is smaller than 1. So it has nothing to do with all these other numbers. Start with the first one. Now the two numbers are the same. 0.32 and 0.33. If the first two numbers are the same, you go to the next number. 3 is larger than 2. 0.33 is larger than 0.32. So looking over here, we have 0.074 is less than 0.67, which is less than 0.802. Ascending order, going from smallest to largest. Now, we already determined that 6 is bigger than 0. So we would go here because 6 is less than 8. When you compare these two, 6 is less than 8. Therefore, that's how those three would ascend. Pretty straightforward. Now we have another thing that is important with decimals. That's called rounding. You will be asked to round to the nearest whatever place we're looking for. In this particular case, we're looking for a round to the nearest tenth. Now the decimal places start just past the point. They go. Rules of rounding are 5 or more, you round up. 4 or less, you leave it the same. Okay? No change. So 6.23, we want to the nearest tenth. This right here is called the tenth place, the tens place. So I look to the next number. If this number, so to the nearest tenth, that'll be 6.2. If we have another question, for example, 7.576, that we want round to the nearest, let's say, thousands. Oh, sorry. Let's use hundredths. Round to the nearest hundredth. The hundredth place is right here. Tens, hundreds. Well, we look at our next number. We write down the first two because those are not touched. Then we look at the next number here. It's a 6. The rules of rounding say 5 or more, you round up. So this number 7 becomes an 8. This number is now rounded to the nearest hundredth place, in the hundreds. You can do multiplication, division, addition, subtraction, all the different operations in math using decimals, just like with the others. The important thing with that is making sure that you, especially with addition or subtraction, you line your numbers, the decimals, up. For example, 7.34 plus 10.21. Whether you do it horizontally or vertically, doesn't really matter. But you add, let's do it vertically the first time so you can see how it works. All of you have worked with money, so you know how to add and subtract with decimals. 4 plus 1 is 5. 5 again. And 17. 17.55. If we were to be subtracting and we needed to borrow, borrowing is the hardest part of subtracting decimals. Subtract here, 7.81. 9 will subtract 1 to get 8, but 1 cannot subtract 8. So I have to borrow, make that a 1, and that 1 becomes an 11. I'm borrowing 10 from that spot over there. 11 minus 8 is 3. This becomes a 1. Well, 1 can't subtract 7, so I borrow from the 3. Carry there, and end up with 24.38 are those two combined. Last thing we want to do is look how you would actually multiply these two decimals together. And the most important thing with multiplying decimals is counting how many places there are behind the decimal point. That is very important. Now, if you were to do the operation here, we won't take the time to do the full operation, but it's 3395 is the answer when you multiply it. But there are some zeros in front. There are 4 of them. Now, I'm not showing you how to multiply, but you multiply these decimals exactly how you would multiply 485 times 7. Exact same process. But what's important is to look at this. Count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are 8 numbers to the right of the decimal place. Therefore, in my answer, there have to be 8 numbers to the right of my decimal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So, a little trick, if you really understand these, is you could take 485 times 7, which is 3395. And then write down, count how many zeros you have here, write down and put your decimal place there, and that will be a little shortcut. If you don't understand that shortcut, that's fine. Just do it the longer way, and you'll still get the right answer.